Hey, how's it going, guys? Ricky Summer here, and today I've come back in time to talk about Night City Wire, Episode 4. But first, a message from our sponsor.
Nexus Security. Protecting you from the unknown beyond the Nexus.
Okay, so Episode 4 was actually quite interesting. We got a lot of information about vehicles. We got to see some of the vehicles. There's the different classes of vehicle. So they showed off 5 distinct categories of vehicle. I guess we have economy, executive, heavy duty, sport, and hypercars. So let's run through it. So economy vehicles were described as utility vehicles and low-end clunkers made for every pocket. And what I found quite cool, and this is a theme that keeps cropping up through these Night City Wire episodes, is the attention to detail in making things within the world feel like real, feel like they would exist in our world. For example, actually naming streets, actually having street names so that you can talk to your friends and be like, oh yeah, I was down at 5th Street or the corner of Assville and Buttzilla, and then you can find a mission and this and that. That's kind of cool. You got this sort of shorthand that puts you within the world. I mean, as I say it sounds silly, but I'm not sure have we had that? Anyway, I've played quite a lot of GTA. I don't remember if I feel like the street names are not that prominent. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. So what I'm trying to say is the cars feel like they would exist within a real world. There's a make and model name. For example, let's run through them. The Mucky Guy May, which I described as an ornery golf cart. We've got the Thornton Colby, which is not a cheese, but it does look like National Lampoon's Vacation, so I guess it kind of is. There's the Archer Hella, which I would describe as a street hearse that looked quite cool. And just as a side note here, the music that was playing during the economy vehicle section absolutely slaps. That's my kind of shit right there. It's also worth noting that they only showed off specific cars. They didn't really show motorbikes. There will be motorbikes in the game. They had this little spot with Keanu Reeves talking about, his motorcycle company. But yeah, we didn't really get that blow by blow of, hey, here's a bunch of economy motorbikes and executive motorbikes, so on and so forth. Anyway, let's move on. So then there's the executive group, if you need to impress. And that includes such fine automobiles as the Villafort Eldorado, which I would describe as a convertible muscle car. Looked very ostentatious. I love it. The Villafort Cortez, which is like a luxury sedan. The Chevrolet Thrax, which is a mafia staff car, if you ask me. I'm not sure that I'll really be into driving executives. Not really my style. Maybe when I was 15, sure, I was into muscle cars. But now I'm older and wiser and I have more refined taste. I can't say that with a straight face. I can't do it. Then we've got the heavy duty vehicles, and this was a little bit of a surprise to me. This opens up my mind to some interesting possibilities. They didn't say as much, but I'm wondering if there will be jobs, missions, quests, whatever you want to call them, that will require a heavy duty vehicle, almost like verging into like a space sim kind of territory where you actually have to deliver a bunch of goods, and so you need a heavy duty vehicle to carry them. That would be really freaking exciting. If all it is just hey, it's a truck, and so it's kind of armored and heavy and you can run people over and run over cars with it. If that's all it is, I'm going to be disappointed, I'll be honest. But if you can actually use it for its intended purpose, to haul shit, okay, that could be really, really cool. A little bit of variety. That would be really, really nice to be hey, it's a Friday night. I want to wind down, but I want to play Cyberpunk 2077. I don't want to get into a gunfight and go crazy and start clicking heads. Let's run some smuggling missions, some cargo missions or something like that. Ideally hope that is the case. That is something we can do. I'm not holding my breath. Anyway, so we've got the Kaukaz Brax. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it looked like it was of Soviet design, I think is what showed up in the little bio thing on the side. And that's the dump truck from hell. I'm into it. These all look pretty cool. They look like they would not feel out of place on the Tiberium wastelands, collecting Tiberium and whatnot. Beautiful glow. Then we've got the Kaukazea, which is baby's first hauler, and the Militech Behemoth, which I would describe as an APC tanker. It looks like a tanker. I don't think that's necessarily what it is. It looks like maybe it could be an APC, or you could, I don't know. The compartment looked You know what I mean. Anyway, we'll find out what it is, I guess, once the game drops. But yeah, that was quite cool. I really quite like the heavy-duty vehicles. They were described as masterful engineering and practical design when you need power and brute force. That kind of implies that maybe they're just going to be like, for the purposes of combat, like if you need to go into an area that's dangerous and need to take some hits. Again, I really hope that we get to use them for actually hauling stuff in a meaningful way. That would be a dream come true for me. Just more variety, more mission variety. Okay, next up we've got sport. Powerful engines and exchangeable parts make them perfect for tuning, is what was said, which is really interesting. So the downside of this is I didn't really get a really strong feeling of what each of the models that they showed off look like, I think because of the exchangeable parts element. But the fact that we can maybe swap out engines and spoilers, and I don't know to what extent we can customize these things, but that's cool. You know, I was under the impression that we wouldn't have customization of cars at all. I think that's what I heard. So the fact that we've got, even if it's just like superficial, or not like superficial, but just very simplistic customization of one particular class of vehicle, that's cool. You know, I'm into that. So we've got the Quadra Type 66, and that looked like the sexual erotic love child of a rally car and like a street racer. You can perhaps tell that I'm really not into cars because I'm probably going to be butchering terms. We've got the Mizutani Shion, which I've got question marks here in my notes for, just because I don't really think we got a very clear representation of what it looked like. Perhaps because of the exchangeable parts element. It looked like they just showed the Quadra Type 66 again with like a rally bumper or something, I don't know. And then there's the Quadra Turbo R, which I would describe as just a straight sports boy, street racer. I don't know, like it looks like a sports car. I don't know sports cars. That's probably my I'm not a car guy, and sports cars are some of the least interesting cars to me just in general, so I don't really know a lot about them. Anyway, so that could be cool. I don't know if I'll be driving sports cars. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see once we get into the game. Lastly, we've got Hypercars. If you need speed and armor, and it's also notable that they've got built-in LiDAR, so that like some kind of tactical speedster. That's a very interesting idea. I'm not sure I was particularly into any of the designs, but we're going to get to something kind of interesting here. That's not new information I've found. It's new to me, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, so we've got the Herrera Outlaw. Love the name. It's like a sports limousine is how I would describe it. We've got the Rayfield Caliburn, which I described as an angry coupe. Very sexy. And lastly, they showed off the Rayfield Aerondight. Oh, hello. And they specifically said less than 1,000 people in the world can afford an Aerondight. For those who aren't following, Aerondight was like the Excalibur type sword from The Witcher. So that's nice that there's a little reference to The Witcher there, and it's also like it tells us everything we need to know. It's highly sought after. It's unique, maybe is the right word. I'm not sure. It's a high tier vehicle. It's going to be very expensive, you know, so I imagine it's probably going to be hard to come by, whether we have to pay for it or we steal it. I don't know, but very exciting. It's got sort of an interesting look. Again, I'm not sure if I'm like super down with it, but you can't say that it doesn't look unique. So I'm excited about that. So a couple other points here that they tacked onto the vehicle section that I found quite interesting was they said that there'd be junk versions and like nice versions of the car. So for example, let's pick one out. The Chevrolet Thrax, what I described as the mafia staff car. You'll potentially be able to find like a junk version of it, a shitty cheap version of it, also a tuned up, well looked after version of it as well. Whether that means it's a different model of the Thrax, so it's like this one was owned by junkers and this one was owned by corpos. I think maybe the latter is more likely, but that's still pretty cool that it's not just, you know, a Thrax is a Thrax is a Thrax. You can find different versions of it that will look different on the outside and on the inside as well, apparently. We will have races in Night City and the Badlands, which is pretty cool. So what I was talking about before, where I want like variety in gameplay, even if we don't get the ability to literally do cargo missions with the heavy duty vehicle class, at the very least, we can race. So that's kind of cool. And it seems like, at least in the case of the Badlands, there will be a reason to use certain classes of vehicle, because the Badlands is all dusty and rocky unmade roads. So like taking, for example, a hypercar or a sports car out to the Badlands probably is not a great idea for racing, at least. So that's cool. You know, we will actually be able to use different types of vehicle depending on where we'll be racing. We can steal cars or we can buy them from fixers. The example they gave for purchasing a car would be your fixer might give you a call and be like, hey, yo, I've got a Herrera Outlaw for sale. If you want it, come and get it. You show up to the spot, you give them the money, you got the car, and that's it. It's yours, you own it. Stealing cars, I don't know how that's going to play out. Whether that's like, hey, here's a mission to steal a car, or like there's literally just, there's a Rayfield Caliburn on the street, I can see it, I'm just going to jack it. Does it then become ours? Or is it like, you know, we're driving it, but we don't really have ownership of it, so we can't recall it? They did mention that, and I think they've mentioned this before, that recalling your car would work very much in the same way that does recalling Roach in The Witcher 3. So I imagine you just like press a button, you'll probably just press in the thumbstick and the car will like auto drive to you. So yeah, that's all right. You know, I'm happy with that. I have no complaints or really strong feelings one way or the other about that mechanic. They also said, this piqued my interest. This was very interesting. Every player vehicle is unique in every way. Interior, exterior, it will sound and drive different. Now, I'm not sure what the distinction is between a player and a non-player vehicle. Is a player vehicle a vehicle that we specifically buy as the player, or is it any vehicle that we can steal? So does that mean that every vehicle on the road is a player vehicle? Potentially, so that means each one will be unique. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's going to be the former. So you'll have like, you know, these set models for vehicles, set loadouts for all these different makes and models, and they'll just be like spread throughout the world. So whether we can steal them, drive them, doesn't matter. But maybe the ones that we specifically buy as player vehicles will be unique. So what that means is, well, like I said, they'll look different, interior and exterior, and they will actually sound and drive differently, which is very cool. So vehicles will be unique. That's awesome, because then, I mean, that gives you a reason to like try out a bunch of different vehicles, I guess. And maybe there's an element of, I'm hesitant to say replayability, but there's more variety, you know. The world will feel a little more real and open if, you know, it's not a matter of, well, I'm 30 minutes into the game, I know there's going to be exactly this type of vehicle at this spot, so I'll just grab it. Maybe on your second playthrough, you'll go to that spot and the vehicle will be a little bit different. I hope so. That would be cool. You know, spice things up a little bit. It's like a little bit of itemization, loot randomization. That'd be fun. Also, they're going to put in a 1977 Porsche 911 as Johnny Silverhand's personal car. So presumably we'll be able to actually get that probably through the story, I imagine, and we'll be able to drive that. I kind of don't care. But hey, if you're into the 911 and you're a car individual, then that might be fun for you. They also talked about fashion, really nothing beyond what we already know, even just from the fashion style poster that we've seen. You've got kitsch, which is style over substance. They described it as having neon hair, illuminated tattoos, chrome. Oh yeah, now we're talking, baby. There's entropism, which is necessity over style, of course. What was interesting was this was born out of the Fourth Corporate War. So, you know, you had all these people down on their luck, essentially, and just doing whatever they could to survive. So they're not concerned about how they look at all, as long as what they're wearing, what they have equipped is functional and will allow them to survive. That's entropism. I'm into that. Very cool. We've got neo-militarism, substance over style. I think it looks very, very slick. They said it's deadly elegance without ostentation. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. It is elegant. It does look expensive and authoritative. Oh yeah, I'm into it. I think I could get into neo-militarism. It's sexy, but like cold and yeah. So this is mostly seen in wealthier parts of town, as you might imagine. And lastly, we've got Neo-kitsch, which is style and substance. They said celebrities, brain dance stars, business magnates, corporate executives are going to be the individuals who are going to be rocking the Neo-kitsch look. Flashy and glamorous is how I would describe it. For me, I'm liking kitsch. Like, as an individual, I think I would describe myself within these four categories as kitsch. Style over substance, you know. I will present myself in a way, I will dress in a way that just looks good, you know. And if it's not like super functional, that's fine. But that being said, in some cases I am also Neo-kitsch. An example is I actually used to carry a man bag. You can laugh at me in the comments if you want. And that was just pure function. I didn't really care how it looked. I didn't think it looked horrible, but it was just, you know, I needed to carry some stuff, so I had a little satchel. At some point I was like, I don't like how this looks. So I am going to do away with it, and then I'm gonna have to make some compromises to both look good, but still, you know, be functional. So I actually moved all my credit cards into, actually, you know what? I'm gonna grab it. I moved all my cards into this thing. So I don't carry cash, and I'm just, it flips out like so. And it's got my license and my cards and just anything I need in there. So what I end up carrying is that, in one pocket keys and my phone in the back pocket, and that's it. That's how I leave the house, which is it's really stripped down from the satchel days, you know? So I would see that as, you know, a little bit of neo-kitsch, because it's style. It's me trimming down so that I look good, but also trimming down for practical purposes, so I'm not carrying too much, so I don't feel heavy, weighed down. Little excursion into my daily life is, why did we do that? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, you know what? I'm a neo-kitsch boy. I am. I'm a neo-kitsch, maybe a little bit kitsch. Yeah, okay, you let me know. You let me know in the comments, guys, which one of these do you fall into, like, as a person, day to day? I doubt we're gonna have very many neo-militarists. But then let me know which one you think you're going to be focusing on, or which one you would like in-game. Is your character going to be kitsch, going to be into entropism, neo-militarism, or are they going to be neo-kitsch? Furthermore, let me know which of the 5 vehicle classes or categories interest you most. Economy, executive, heavy duty, sport, or the hypercars. For me, I think it's going to be maybe, oh, I don't know, like as a full class, it's hard to say. Maybe the hypercars, I don't know, maybe heavy duty. I gotta drive some of them a little more, you know? Maybe I'll end up liking the sports cars for their customization. Yeah, maybe I'll be a sports car guy for the first time in my life. Anyway, guys, so that was the long and the short of it there. Oh yeah, also it's releasing on Stadia. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of Night City Wire Episode 4 in the comments down below. Be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time. Ricky Summer, out.